Let me take a guess. Lately, you've been carrying more weight on your mind than you'd like to admit. Maybe at night, when everything is quiet, your thoughts run wild. You're lying there, staring into the dark, replaying every mistake, imagining every possible disaster. You tell yourself to relax. You focus on your breathing, yet that knot in your chest, that heavy pull in your gut, refuses to let go. The pressure, the doubt, the fear. During the day you might put on a smile, but deep inside there's a quiet battle raging. You're far from the only one. The truth is, most people are lugging around far more than they reveal. We stress over our finances, our relationships, our futures, even over the way others perceive us. We try to map out every move, control every variable, but no matter how much we plan, it rarely feels like enough. So, what's the way forward? Here's a twist you might not have expected. The solution to that constant unease might not lie in the latest app or even a therapist's office, though those can help, but in ancient principles that have stood for over 2 millennia. I'm talking about Stoicism, a philosophy embraced by Roman rulers, battle-worn soldiers, enslaved individuals, and scholarly minds alike. And here's the thing. It's just as effective now as it was back then. Because back in those days, just like today, life was unpredictable. People endured wars, betrayals, sickness, heartbreak. They couldn't control the chaos around them, but they learned to master their responses to it. That's exactly what today's video is about. You're about to discover 8 Stoic practices that can help you break free from worry, not just for a few hours, but in a way that's deep, lasting, and transformative. These aren't surface-level tricks, they're shifts in perspective, ancient tools you can use to build inner calm in a world determined to disturb it. And don't worry, this won't be some academic lecture, no philosophy degree required. Everything we'll cover is practical, easy to grasp, and grounded in real life. Whether you're studying, raising a family, building a business, or simply getting through each day, there's value here for you. Before we dive in, let me quickly share a personal moment. A few years back, I was completely stuck. I felt buried under constant pressure, checking my phone dozens of times a day, refreshing my inbox, chasing approval, drowning in overthinking. I convinced myself that worrying meant I was being responsible. But the truth? It meant I didn't trust myself. One night, I stumbled upon a line from Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who kept a personal journal through wars and plagues. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. It hit me like a lightning strike. I had spent years trying to control everything I couldn't, yet I'd barely tried to master my own thoughts. That was the turning point. I started reading more, applying Stoic habits, and retraining the way I dealt with stress. And the best part, you don't need to rebuild your entire life to find peace. You just need to change how you view it. That's exactly what these 8 habits will help you do. We'll walk through them one at a time. I'll share quotes from real Stoic thinkers, and you'll hear examples of how they've helped not just philosophers of the past, but people like you and me today. So take a slow breath. You're not damaged. You're not weak for feeling worry, but you are strong enough to decide how you respond. And that's exactly what we're going to work on together. Habit number 1, master the art of premeditation. Let me ask you something. Have you ever found yourself stressed over something that hadn't even happened yet? Of course you have. We all have. We imagine the worst. The breakup, the job loss, the humiliation, the illness. And our bodies react as if it's already happening. The fear takes over. The Stoics had an antidote for this, premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Seneca put it this way: he robs present ills of their power, who has perceived their coming beforehand. At first, this might sound pessimistic. Why think about bad things that could happen? But it's actually the opposite. This isn't about becoming fearful. It's about becoming prepared. A Stoic would begin the day by asking, what could go wrong today? What challenges might I face? What insults might be thrown? What losses might occur? By calmly visualizing these possibilities, they stripped them of their power. They accepted them before they even arrived. Here's how you can apply this. Before a crucial meeting, ask, what's the worst that can happen, and how would I handle it with composure? Before making a big decision, ask, if I lose everything, what do I still have within me? Before starting the day, ask, what might test my patience today? Who might push my buttons? And how will I respond as someone in control, not at the mercy of emotion? Worry thrives in uncertainty, but if you've already rehearsed the battle in your mind, you become unshakable. You might still feel nervous, but you won't be ruled by it. You'll have practiced your self-control, your dignity, your calm. And that puts you ahead of nearly everyone else who walks into life unprepared. From now on, before your day begins or before any major challenge, take 2 minutes. Close your eyes and think through what might go wrong. Then tell yourself calmly, I'm ready. That's the power of Stoicism. Not pretending that bad things won't happen, but preparing for them so they never own you. Think about the last time you were stuck worrying over something you couldn't possibly change. The weather, someone's opinion of you, a mistake you made years ago, the state of the economy, or that person who just won't reply to your message. We've all been there. And the more energy we pour into things beyond our reach, the more powerless we feel. This is where one of the most powerful Stoic ideas steps in: the dichotomy of control. Epictetus, one of Stoicism's great teachers, summed it up simply: some things are up to us, and some things are not. It's an uncomplicated statement, yet it holds the key to a quieter mind. The Stoics saw life as having 2 buckets: things you can control, your thoughts, your choices, your actions, your reactions, your values. Things you cannot control, other people's actions, final outcomes, your past, and much of the future. Here's where most people get it wrong. They spend most of their energy on bucket 2, on the things they can't influence. Then they wonder why they're anxious, burnt out, and constantly frustrated. A Stoic flips that script. When insulted, they don't obsess over the insult itself. They focus on how they choose to answer. When facing uncertainty, they don't waste energy trying to predict the future. They concentrate on readying their mind. When betrayed, they don't drown in resentment. They work on keeping their own integrity intact. This is the control test. With every worry, ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, release it. If it's yes, then focus entirely on the action you can take. Try it in practice. Someone posts something nasty about you online. Can you control what they write? Number. Can you control whether you sink to their level or remain composed? Yes. You didn't land the job you wanted. Can you control the hiring decision? Number. Can you improve your skills and try again? Absolutely. The more you live by this, the leaner your thinking becomes. You stop scattering your energy against brick walls and start directing it toward open doors. And little by little, worry begins to fade. Not because the world becomes easier, but because your mind becomes stronger. As Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. If you want to anchor this in your own life, say it out loud or drop it in writing. I control my actions, not the world. Be honest. How often have you felt stressed or uneasy, not because of something happening in your own life, but because of what you've read, seen, or heard? Maybe it was a doom-filled headline, a friend's angry political rant, or a social media post that made you feel like you were falling behind. The truth is, much of our anxiety is imported. It's not even ours. We've absorbed it from the noise around us. That's why the Stoics were deliberate about what they allowed into their minds. Seneca advised, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." That wisdom applies not only to the company we keep, but to everything we consume. You can't fill your head with garbage and expect peace to grow. Here's the habit. Limit your inputs. Guard your mind like it's sacred. Here's how you can do it. Unfollow accounts on social media that leave you feeling angry, insecure, or reactive. Keep news intake brief. 5 to 10 minutes a day from trusted sources beats hours of endless scrolling. Create distance from people who constantly gossip, complain, or fuel your fears. Curate your online and offline world to feed your mind with clarity, wisdom, and strength, not noise. This isn't about being uninformed. It's about protecting your energy. The Stoics compared the mind to a garden. If you let weeds run wild, they'll choke out everything good. Worry needs fuel to survive, and when you stop feeding it, it begins to die. You don't have to react to every opinion. You don't have to take on every piece of bad news. You don't have to carry pain that isn't yours. A calm mind isn't passive, it's defended. Build a mental gate and ask of every new piece of information, does this strengthen me or weaken me? If it weakens you, it doesn't deserve your attention. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And your reaction will always be shaped by what you allow in. Control the input, and you control the output, and with it, your peace. If you need a reminder, hold on to this. I protect my mind like a warrior. Picture this. Instead of ending your night with mindless scrolling or sinking deeper into stress, you close your day in silence, asking yourself a simple question. How did I live today? This was a cornerstone of Stoic practice. They believed one of the most effective ways to calm anxiety was to review the day's actions, not to condemn yourself, but to understand yourself. Seneca described his own nightly ritual. When the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, I examine my entire day and go back over what I've done and said. Think about it. How much of our unease comes from thoughts we never process, feelings we ignore, or mistakes we fail to learn from? Instead of running from the day and diving headfirst into the next, the Stoic sits with it. They ask, did I show courage today? Did I let something outside my control steal my peace? Did I speak words I regret? Did I live by my values? By reflecting regularly, they didn't just recall events, they rewired their thinking. Over time, this habit turns you into a disciplined observer of your own mind. You start noticing patterns. What provokes you? What drains you? What lifts you higher? You become sharper in your reactions, steadier in your emotions, and truer to your principles. Here's how to make it a part of your life. Every night, take 5 to 10 minutes. Sit quietly. Ask yourself, what did I handle well today? What can I improve tomorrow? Avoid harsh self-criticism. Just notice. Writing it down can be even more powerful. Let it become a mirror for your growth. And if the day went badly, good. Now you know exactly where to improve. Worry grows when we avoid facing our past. But when we look at it with calm honesty, it loses its grip. Marcus Aurelius followed this ritual every night in what became his meditations. He didn't write them for others to read. They were private notes to keep himself grounded, humble, and aligned. You can do the same. The reward? You fall asleep with clarity and wake up with purpose. And gradually, the endless mental spinning fades, because reflection keeps you rooted. And someone who's grounded doesn't get swept away by fear. Let's be honest. How much of your stress comes from fighting against reality itself? The relationship you didn't want to lose, the opportunity you didn't want to miss, the news you didn't want to hear. Something happens, and instead of accepting it, you replay it endlessly. You question it. You wish it were different. And over time, that resistance turns into constant worry, sadness, or even bitterness. The Stoics had a radical antidote, amor fati, the love of fate. This isn't just about tolerating what happens, but embracing it as your path, not your punishment. Friedrich Nietzsche, deeply influenced by Stoicism, described his ideal this way. My formula for greatness in a human being is amor fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity. At first, it sounds impossible. How can you love what hurts? But amor fati doesn't mean enjoying pain. It means understanding that pain can shape you, that even the hardest events can become fuel for growth. It's the mindset that says, this happened. I cannot change it, but I can use it. You didn't choose the breakup, but maybe it leads you back to yourself. You didn't choose the failure, but maybe it teaches you humility and persistence. Marcus Aurelius saw every obstacle as potential. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. That problem you didn't want, it's part of the journey. That detour you didn't plan, it might be the real road you needed to take. To live this way, try this. When something unwanted happens, pause, breathe. Say amor fati, then ask, how can this help me grow? What lesson is hidden here? How can I use this instead of letting it use me? Then move forward with focus and strength. When you practice this, worry often transforms into curiosity. Pain can turn into wisdom. And even life's hardest moments can gain meaning. This isn't about sugarcoating reality. It's about cultivating Stoic resilience. Because someone who can love their fate, no matter how it arrives, becomes untouchable. Here's the truth. Most of our worry isn't about what's happening right now. It's about what might happen later. We imagine getting sick, losing our job, failing in love, or having everything go wrong next week, next month, or next year. But right here, in this moment, you're breathing, you're alive, you're safe. This is where the Stoics offer one of their most comforting principles: presence. Marcus Aurelius advised, confine yourself to the present. Not the past, not the future, just this moment. He also wrote, never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which arm you today. The Stoics understood that true strength comes from living fully in the now. The past is finished. The future hasn't happened yet. The only moment you truly own is the present. Worry hijacks your mind and drags you into times that don't exist. But when you train yourself to return to now, you reclaim your power. Here's how you can make this a habit. Throughout your day, ask yourself, where am I right now? Am I here or lost in what-ifs? When anxiety starts creeping in, come back to your senses. Notice the ground beneath your feet. Listen to the sounds around you. Focus on your breath. Build small moments of awareness while you drink your coffee, walk outside, or speak with someone. Presence isn't just a mental trick. It's a shield. Because when you live completely in the moment, anxiety has less room to grow. Right now, there is no disaster. Right now, there is no enemy. Right now, there is only now. And it's enough. Stoicism doesn't teach you to pretend that nothing bad will happen. It teaches you to meet challenges when they actually arrive, not 100 times over in your imagination. The more you choose the present, the less space fear has to live in your mind. Make this your mantra. Right now is enough. Because in this moment, you are alive, and that is already power. Here's a paradox you might not expect. One of the most effective ways to stop fearing the future is to practice discomfort in the present. Why? Because when you get used to being uncomfortable, the unknown loses much of its power over you. Seneca, one of the wealthiest Stoics of his time, regularly tested himself with hardship. He would sleep on the floor, eat the simplest food, and wear rough clothing, all on purpose. His reasoning was captured in this advice. Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, "Is this the condition that I feared?" Why would someone who had every comfort willingly give it up? Because he understood that if you can endure voluntary difficulty, involuntary hardship won't destroy you. Worry feeds on unfamiliar pain. But if you've trained with discomfort, things like loss, rejection, hunger, or failure won't feel so intimidating. This isn't about punishing yourself. It's about preparing yourself. Here's how to practice it. Skip a meal and notice that you can still function with strength. Take a cold shower and remind yourself that you can push through resistance. Say no to small indulgences to strengthen your self-control. Get up earlier than you want and do the hardest task first. Each time you do this, you're proving to yourself that you are stronger than your comfort zone. And the more you believe that, the weaker worry becomes. Because the truth is, storms will come. But if you've already walked in the rain by choice, you won't panic when the sky opens. And here's the deeper beauty. When you stop clinging to comfort at all costs, you stop fearing discomfort entirely. That's real freedom. The Stoic isn't trying to eliminate every challenge. They're building the kind of mind that can face any challenge. So disrupt your own comfort from time to time. Live a little harder today so you can live freer tomorrow. The less you fear discomfort, the less you fear life. If you're in the middle of your own storm, remind yourself, I grow stronger through challenge. There's one more habit people often overlook when they're trying to break free from worry. They obsess over results instead of focusing on virtue. They ask themselves, will this work? Will people approve? What if I fail? And because results are uncertain, anxiety grows. The Stoics taught something far deeper. Shift your focus from how things turn out to how you choose to live. From appearing successful to being good. From chasing outcomes to living with integrity. Epictetus put it plainly, don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do, and you will go on well. What does this mean in practice? It means that if you live by values like honesty, courage, discipline, and kindness, you've already succeeded, no matter what the world says. Worry thrives when we chase things outside ourselves: wealth, recognition, status, approval. Peace grows when we live in alignment with our principles, regardless of the end result. That's why Marcus Aurelius cared less about being seen as victorious and more about living uprightly. As he wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Here's how to apply this. Before acting, don't ask, "Will this make me win?" Ask, "Is this the right thing to do?" Before taking a big risk, don't ask, "Will I look foolish if it fails?" Ask, "Will I grow no matter how it ends?" When you're worried about what others think, ask, "Did I act with integrity?" If the answer is yes, you've already won. You don't need to control other people's opinions. You don't need to control the scoreboard. You only need to control your own choices. Because when your conscience is clear, your sleep is peaceful. The Stoics weren't obsessed with fame or ambition. They were committed to being steady, wise and good, even when nobody was watching. And that is where real peace comes from. You can't always control how life unfolds, but you can always control how you live it. So trade attention for authenticity, outcome for effort, fear for virtue, and watch how worry starts to lose its grip. Because nothing can shake a person who knows they lived with honor. If you're ready to make that your standard, say it. I live by virtue, not fear. Worry is a thief. It creeps in quietly, settles in deeply, and, if you let it, can rob you of years of peace, focus, and confidence. It whispers doubts, magnifies fears, and pulls you away from the present moment. But here's what the Stoics knew, and what you now know: you are not powerless. You might not be able to calm the storms of life, but you can train your mind to remain steady in the middle of them. You weren't born to be tossed around by every fear or insecurity. You were born to master yourself. Let the world spin. Let others chase distractions, panic, and exhaust themselves. You stay rooted, still, clear, disciplined, calm. That's the Stoic way. That's true strength. That's real peace. If this message has helped you, share it. Help this circle of modern Stoic warriors grow, because we're stronger when we walk this path together. Now it's time to claim your power. Say it, write it, own it. I choose calm. I choose strength. I choose Stoicism.